She sent me something. How are we all, guys? Those of you who are new, welcome. Hope your weekend is going well for those of you who are in America and London. Hi, Michelle. Direct energy of what's coming through. Now, another update I want to give you guys is I have created a new channel. Now, it is for twin flame only readings. I'm working on it behind the scenes, and I will be doing each zodiac sign. So it'll be, you know, Libran, you know, going all the way down basically into the energy of it. I'm unsure yet whether it's going to be weekly or whether it's going to be a monthly read with, you know, mid-month and then live sessions. I'm hoping that, obviously, I'm dealing with some analytical issues on the channel here, that if I do that, then I can interact with you guys, get Super Chat up and running. So I'll give you the link soon. I'm going to try and, during the Christmas time frame, get all the connections to the numbers with the totems and things like that within it on there before the channel's launched, so that when you're having the synchronicities, you know, numerology connected to twin flame, you can go and you can directly link to it. It was a birthday present, and it's so strange because I was bombarded by hearts, and then my brother and sister gave it to me. Heart chakra activation, guys. Is the universe trying to tell me something? Okay, now there has been a shift within the frequency. Probably a lot of purging has happened over the last week, especially near the moon energy. And a lot of you would have found that you either, well, I would be very surprised if you were upbeat and fantastic. A lot of meditation, a lot of frequency where you were feeling very tired, and really old things coming up out of nowhere that you thought you'd really purged and come up. And so trying to be gentle with yourself, it is very exhausting. And definitely the transformation is really what I'm looking at, especially with the videos that I'm doing ahead of time, moving into December, so to speak. I am seeing a pattern kind of transforming in the transit. A lot of it, when you look at it, needing to come into duality first before any direct movement in your life towards a soulmate, towards your twin flame, is necessary. So regardless of if you are dealing with a soulmate energy or you are directly dealing with a twin and you currently are in a connection, whoever you are, a lot of the energy of the transformation has been the whole year. So those of you who have really been losing kind of that faith of, you know, how is this going to resolve itself? It is due to that factor. And your frequency at times is very much feeling quite in peril. How is this going to evolve? How is this going to resolve? When is the communication coming in? Very much intuitively tonight, I had the download that there are some tower moments happening. That can be on your side or theirs, but it was a very nervous, agitated frequency coming through. Usually with these transformative times, obviously in the Venus retrograde, that is something in the dark shadow side that does come up. So those are the frequencies that come up in order for us to address them. A lot of the counterparts are directly looking at the situation and gaining a lot of insight, regardless of what they're directly dealing with, you know, be it a karmic, a job-related dynamic, family-related dynamics. I'm feeling them in an icky situation with agitation around them, so to speak. So it can be some deep conflicts that they're directly dealing with at the moment. But I am going to pull cards in relation to it, and we'll tune into what's happening with feminine and masculine, soulmate, twin flame, whatever frequency comes up. If you're needing to rest, you do need to do such. And when you do have the energy to get a lot done, and you are getting it done, it's a direct sign from universe that you're arc. So if you're getting frustrated and you're thinking, hey, you know, I'm doing a lot of work in the 3D in my domain, but I'm not having any direct movement currently directly in front of me, it is due to that. It's the alignment related dynamic happening to prepare you for the aspect of what's to come for you. If you are feeling a frequency of utter and complete silence. Again, that is quite normal as well. Don't get triggered by it. What else did I have to tell you guys? There was something else. I do feel they're having a lot of issues with a female energy. Now, this can be in relation to a family-related dynamic, a mother, a karmic, a female energy in general. It can be also balancing the feminine aspect of themselves with what's going on currently. How are we? Feminines, you guys are really worried about, you know, the balance, your position. It's like you guys have swapped frequencies and energies. Some of you are feeling you're failing, or you haven't purged enough, or you haven't healed enough, and you might have 3D conflicts around you. The ironic thing is, I feel you're very protected. I feel it's more a frequency that, you know, when you're coming to a place where you're healing, what you do have happen is you do pick up on counterparts' energy. And the strange thing is, a lot of times, because you're purging in that egoic state with the exhaustion, what you're not understanding is, until you can get grounded and you come out of that cycle, because they're temporary cycles you bounce into, then you bounce back out again and you have the movement forward. It's in that time frame that you're going to have the download. So when you're fatigued, exhausted, and you finally come to that place where you quit and you've got to rest, it's after that fact that you're receiving downloads and you need to pay attention to universe, because they're trying to give you the insight of what's going on, but you need to find that still place. So sometimes if you're really triggered and, you know, you're looking at energies and you don't quite know which one to decipher between what's correct and what's not, get grounded and then receive the downloads of what's coming, because I do feel that's quite relevant at the moment. Both of you are in a place of judgment, okay, between you. Both of you are requiring that balance. But Shelley and I were talking about the factor of the numbers for next year, and it is masculine and feminine collectively balancing the yin and yang inside themselves and able to have internal duality to choose the path forward, be it you choose to, you know, reconcile and move with twin, or, you know, regardless, your path is connected to duality, then union, so to speak, but union with self first, then union with them. There is an aspect of judgment. It's a very important time in the retrograde process. Even if you're not directly getting communication, it makes no difference. There's still transformation happening, both in your life and theirs. Masculines are really getting grounded, but they're seeing the ground they're walking on. They're actually looking at it and they're saying, this is not, I know what this is now. And it can be this fiery energy, very much I'm feeling with them sacral chakra and solar plexus chakra coming up for them, where they're trying to re-navigate their way through to get to where they need to be, but they're looking at it at a very practical, rational level and seeing the truth. They're also seeing that part of the block was directly an egoic state, and it can be the death of ego coming through for them, where the whole aspect of pride comes before a fall. It can be something of a 3D nature that does come through for them, that humbles that factor. A lot of times when we have blocks in a connection that come up in readings, we do tend to get a bit triggered and we say, well, gee, you know, does that mean this person's not transforming? Usually even the shadow aspect of us, which is where we are, we're in the abyss of the shadow aspect. It's very healthy because we're able to address then that aspect of us, which is that darker nature of ourselves. And that's both feminine, masculine, us collectively. Within that state, they're not finding abundance. And that is that's the humbling energy of the physical frequency of being in that state, of realizing regardless of feeling grounded and having that realization of the state that is preventing communication, movement, and transformation. It's the lesson that's going to come through is that it's not of benefit to them to be in this state. It's not helping them move forward. It's basically pushing the pause button, but delaying the inevitable of what's going to happen regardless. At the heart of the matter, they're realizing that they're going to have to work together as a team in order to move this situation forward within their life. And it may be they're actually communicating with particular individuals, but realizing that in order for the connection, or a connection in general, is teamwork. And they're really not finding any joy within a direct connection or what they're working on currently. So if the karmic energy for them personally is a work-related dynamic or a pastime, or a karmic, they're not finding any joy in the connection. They do want an abundant future. They're really wanting something to come to fruition and feel that grounded energy of progress in their life. And what they're directly finding is, again, it's lack. They just keep saying lack. They're turning over another leaf, lack. It is going to take them a lot of courage. And I am saying for many pockets of twins, there is a transformative period of December for one pocket of twins. Interesting. One pocket of twins. And then the second pocket are coming through between, so it's December. And then the second pocket is anywhere between January and March. January and March pockets of the collective that are moving through in this transformative stage. It might be 3D related dynamics that are forcing that factor. It doesn't mean you're more or less evolved. It's just directly the window of when I see movement happening. We're also quiet in the house. Now, with this courage that they're having and the movement, it is connected to an ending of some shape or form. The end of what was and what's to be. Okay, although an ending of a cycle will be coming, what is going to happen is there may not be communication or movement right away because they need to meditate upon what they're waiting for. But they feel as frustrated in their own personal life that divine timing is at hand. And they're seeing that although they may have the ability to, they're being cautious with their energy and trying to deal with it in a cautious manner. I'll say that. They do feel that meditating upon it is going to keep them safe. So again, they are being cautious about how to deal with it. They're being very critical towards themselves or a direct path they chose. It can be temporarily connected to you, but I feel in general it is going to transform them because thinking at mindfulness is what one could say. Does give them a realization that they're not at home in that frequency and they're not at home currently doing what they currently are. I keep hearing pride comes before a fall. I feel they're being very critical towards themselves, very critical of their life path and what's happened and where the blocks are. It's a great frustration within the energy of what is happening with them at the moment. Okay. Their concern and their egoic state, the reason some of them aren't moving forward is because they feel they're not stable right now. Some of them are fearful that maybe where it stands until the situations are resolved that you directly felt were a blockage are addressed, that they're unable to come through with the correct offer. Again, it can be directly on their side that they're needing to stabilize the situation, but it is their fears as well that perhaps you will not accept an offer. So they're cautious about that and they're really trying to meditate upon it, take a critical eye to it, and really be in their mind about it and make an educated decision about their actions and reactions prior to moving towards you. They do want to make the romantic gesture towards you, but again, I keep hearing humble pie, and it's real. The only thing I can think of is, intuitively, is their attitude towards themselves. And the ego card coming up is really feeling cautious, but slightly not as grounded as they'd like to be. They are concerned that perhaps their happy ending within what they feel spiritually is correct for them is not coming through. So they're kind of caught in between their head and their heart as to, okay, I need to be rational. They're very much micromanaging themselves. I need to be rational, but I also need to come correct. Okay, they're unstable and happy in their current situation. They're aware of what transpired in the connection, but they do have the Cupid's arrow here. Some of them may even be thinking about Venus retrograde and listening to some of these cross-watching videos and going, yeah, maybe I should wait. Educated decision. They do want to make the romantic gesture, but they also want to come with the fruits. They may feel that they don't have much to offer. And this could be the reason why the delay is directly there for them personally. Again, many masculines were looking at it from a very 3D nature of I need to be externally abundant in order to be internally abundant. Some of them had been very internally abundant for a long time, but our scales, which is the yin and yang inside us, becomes imbalanced due to egoic energies, blocks in our chakra, trigger points connected to past tent hurt, and then it can become unbalanced. Where they invested previously, again, job, family, etc., it's empty. It feels empty for them, and it doesn't feel quite what they thought it was going to be. They're very sad about it. They had wished it had been different. But this, how do I put it? For some of them, the connection may have been a soulmate energy. This could have been, for many of them, a very long time ago, very old karmic energy. Even twins are karmic energies while we're evolving. So it's the spiritual connection as per se is very much there. But the feeling directly that you're entitled to it is a very different thing, and that happens on masculine and feminine side. And although they are concerned that it's going to be taken, they're aware that you've been very faithful to them, okay? That's why they feel that after whatever has transpired, they feel, why would it be reciprocated after the fact? So they are being cautious, and they might be in a bit of fear energy about how they're actually going to directly approach you. Feminines. Okay, you can be really concerned about your finances. And again, it may also transmute into your internal abundance and how you feel about yourself. You're having to be very strong and brave with this transformation. And for many of you, without that direct communication, it has directly impacted you. You have been concerned about where the balances weren't and the temptations. And this can be your feeling at the heart of the matter of what you feel went wrong in the connection. For them, what they felt was, you know, teamwork. And again, it can be their thoughts towards you or their thoughts towards themselves. It can be feminine, your thoughts towards yourself connected to this connection, that it was very, in the early stages, perhaps codependent, and on both sides at one point. And also the blockages connected to perhaps enabling the direct situation, but then looking at it and having that direct compassion and understanding. Some of you may even feel you're in love with the devil. Let's see. Oh, God, feminines. You're working out what you directly feel is going to give you an abundant connection. Oh, okay. Interesting. A lot of your frequency, though, pay attention to it. Look at your 3D versus what you're physically feeling. I'd be highly surprised. Just checking if there's anything there. I'd be highly surprised if you're not directly picking up on some of the energies from counterpart, from the person you're inquiring about. Because on the 3D, I feel you're not seeing something as beautiful as it currently is in your 3D energy. It's not to say that, obviously, if you're not in communication with your loved one or it's not flowing, that you don't feel a lack. However, Much has transformed in your life, even from a very internal, external manner. And you need to look at that, because when we're in that vibration of lack, we co-create lack. But it can be that, you know, you're being cautious with your heart and with your finances, and you know change is coming. Your frequency is picking up on it, and you know you're going to have to make a judgment about what to do. You know, be it you have communication, you don't have communication, what are you going to do moving forward? It's really caused a lot of stress, and for you personally, it may be at times you feel, hey, how can you move forward? What pathway do you take? Some of you might have an energy of love interests around you, and you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, what do I do from here? Do I move forward with this? And really balancing the scales and looking at it and saying, you know, is twin coming back? Is counterpart coming back? Is this love interest coming back? You know, you're not happy at the moment. You were looking at the happy times, but it can be for some of you almost feeling cross at yourself for focusing on the happy times, because the happy times for some of you, you may feel was what got you through. But then whatever energy of this, the devil energy coming through, which is directly next to it, may have in your mind been part of the aspect to motivate you to move through the journey. That is not what you're understanding, you know. So even though, yes, you do know there were happy times, and at the moment you're feeling you'd like happy times and you're really wanting that, but you're feeling you're having to be brave through the adversity. It is an aspect of the journey to, you know, look at our shadow sides and move forward, but to transform those egoic states to get to the other side. Now, what you're really having coming towards you is going to be the Ten of Cups. But what is crowning that is you can actually see the potential within the connection to be the Ten of Cups. Even with all the toxicity from the past and how adverse the journey was. But there's great sadness in your heart. So you're healing this aspect right now. Some of you know clarity, some of you wishing to have closure. And really, you know, some of you are working far too hard, and you need to actually have that downtime in order to recoup your frequency and your energy. It can be some of you are actually going to have a visit. This can be from counterpart or another person who's directly concerned about you. But for some of you, it may actually be counterpart that directly communicates, touches base with you, or directly turns up. Okay, be cautious with your energy of how you're seeing things. It can be a discussion directly connected to the conflict, but I feel you're communicating it from your side. And I do feel many of you, when you do have this communication with counterpart, it's going to be the ending of the old chapter. The communication, if you can keep it at a very balanced level, can be communicated in a way in which they understand they're receiving of the frequency. And very much you can tell when a person, yeah, and it's a discussion about the consistency of the connection. It's not that you ever lacked faith in the direct connection. Fear-based energies and frequencies come through, but it was the lack of ongoing consistency that directly hindered the connection. And yes, of course, within the trigger points, both of us are accountable. Okay, there can be negotiations and planning going on in your life, feminine, where be it they're there or they're not, you're really kind of doing this negotiation in the mind to make a judgment of what you're going to do to move forward. You're really looking at it very 3D. You know, many of you who are probably in the second wave will be looking at it from the perspective of a very 3D level. Depending on where you are in your healing process and the journey, some of you may have resolved the factor of the release, trusting in the universe and divine order. And if it's destined, it's meant to be. If it's not, it won't. Others of you are in that cycle of, you know, being very fear-based energy, especially with the retrograde. Some of you are almost like dark night of the closet soul, you know, very deep, dark energy where it's impacting your frequency, and it almost feels like the death of the old, you know, very sad frequency coming through. but really looking at it and you know, some of you may be getting triggered to the point where you're having this stark realization of, gosh, you know, is this going to happen? Others of you are really looking at it like a resolve. It's like, it is going to be what it's going to be. I'm releasing it to universe. I'm trusting that my guides are protecting me. So it depends on how you're directly getting triggered with this frequency. You're being very strict with yourself. It's almost like, it's either you're being directly strict to what transpired, or your process moving forward, or towards any person if they're directly making you address some of these old frequencies. The funny thing is, I am feeling that you don't need to be concerned about enemy energy, because I feel for those of you, if you're grounded enough, you can actually receive and connect in with, you know, who to trust and who not to. You know, healthy boundaries, slow process, move at a pace you directly feel comfortable with, to see that a transformation is actually physically happening. Because I am seeing a strict energy around it, and it might be you're thinking, okay, do I need to be similar to karmic energies, be it a boss, you know, ex, karmic? Do I need to be this frequency in order to move this connection forward? Do I need to be as narcissistic or energetically brutal as that frequency? It can also be that towards yourself, that you're feeling strict towards yourself and how you were previously. Even though deep down, you know, you don't want to be the enemy, and you don't want them to be your enemy. You want to take your swords down. Many of you are really purging the loss and going through an aspect of the doubt. And again, similar, wanting to be happy but not being happy. Wanting to have that happy ending. Okay, this is a judgment, but it's balance, you know, it's clarity. And again, I am picking up the frequency of Taurus energy, but also it's knowing that things have to be balanced in order for it to move forward. I feel once that comes about, you're not going to be in that anger frequency, and it's going to bode better in a sense for the communication and the movement forward. So it's sort of like you do have the recipe for the movement forward, but you're being cautious about the way you're looking at things. If you can get into a space where you can sit quietly and removing yourself from white noise, I do feel within 24 hours you have the download, but you need to pay attention to your frequency. When you're tuning in, somebody asked me the other day, when you're tuning into a person, how do you tell what the frequency is? Now, usually if you think of the person, you need to come to a quiet space. You need to be away from a trigger point, and you need to be as grounded as possible. In doing slight breathing exercises, tune into the question you have directly connected to the connection. Feel in each chakra what is coming up. Now, when I say you can move through chakras, feel the heart chakra of how it feels. There will be movements within the chakras that will give your body a direct signal of whether the person is in a heightened state, you know, whether they're happy, whether they're agitated. It's almost like your Heineken will go up and down. Pay attention to your body. Your body can actually give you these receptive, you know, techniques of telling you. If you're trying to tune into twin and you're wanting to meditate and telepathically communicate, there are videos on YouTube you can directly use, and you can go into a state where you are picturing your love interest on a chair and you're directly asking to communicate directly with them. You need to envision them as a whole, and then try to intercept to a point where you can enter their space. If you can enter their space and they're open, you can transmute the frequency of what you wish to tell them. If they're very agitated and they're not allowing you, you need to remove yourself and close yourself off. So try and have like a smudge stick, and you can do that to protect yourself and close your chakra down, your crown. If they are in fact open, you can communicate that several times over the days moving till a point it becomes calmer, and then you may get more communication, but you need to release and trust. Now, when it comes down to manifestation, a lot of the times, many of you, if you're trying to manifest cash, twin, soulmate, whatever it be, what you need to realize is when universe is not showing you anything, no signs, no synchronicities, it's asking you to let go of the state of control. When you let go of that and you trust in it and you feel and believe that you are receiving, you then receive. And generally speaking, with any direct dynamic connected to manifestation or it evolving, it needs to come to a place where you do release. And it's not that you have to release the desire, the passion, or whatever you're trying to manifest. It's more the aspect of the trust in letting it go to a point you believe it will be all divinely guided. Now, masculines are very much in the faith energy. So it can be that they're actually waking up, believing and seeing and wanting to take this to the next level. Feminines are really in this discorded state where they need to get grounded. Now, a lot of times when crap is going down on their side, you'll directly feel it either prior, during, or after the fact. So some of you might be transmuting some of that frequency. But again, it is, how do I put it? It is due to the fact you need to get grounded. And very much the last card for you guys was balance. So try and get balanced. Try and not to get to that panicked state. And that's going to help you, you know, cope with the frequency and move forward. Don't feel you're running out of time. Try and be within the frequency and go with the flow. Anything that is happening is actually divinely guided and it was intended and meant for you. And I'll leave it at that. Any questions before I run away and go to bed at God knows what time? No questions? I don't know whether the chat has paused or whether... No questions, anyone? Now, as I said, I will be doing the additional channel. I also will have, obviously, twin flames all the way through by zodiac sign. Again, I'm not sure whether I'm going to have bi-monthly, weekly. I'm trying to gauge it at the moment. I'll see how I go for scheduling. As soon as it is up and running, I probably can add the link directly below. And then you can directly connect in with it. As soon as the videos are done, I will give you a heads up. It won't stop me doing material on this page, but it will give you additional videos that can give you some insight into your direct situation within your twin flame connection. And I may also continue to do like divine masculine, divine feminine, you know, over on the other channel in update formats as well on top of the videos I'm going to provide. So I'll give you guys some feedback when it's launched and when it's open. And then, you know, when you're wanting that format and you can get them, click the notification bell and we can focus directly on that. And then super chat can be activated and then we can get into readings for you guys if you can't afford the full reading. Otherwise, if you are needing a booking, you can go to the link that I'll put directly below and tee one up. I will have the other videos open soon on Yildiz readings, and I'm also going to be working on love by elements separate to the videos I'm going to open. So, you know, don't stress. I'm doing more videos and hopefully I'll do mid-month as well, providing I've got the time. Love and light.